We've got the Class of Service tab here. Some people like to do Class of Service through the JWeb interface. Other people prefer to do it through the command line. With Class of Service, it can be a little complicated with Juniper. Some people like to do it using the JWeb interface just because it seems to be a little bit more optimized and organized, but that's kind of completely up to you as the engineer. So these are all of your different options for setting up Class of Service, or in other terms, quality of service. Juniper calls it Class of Service. So we have system properties here. Basically, these are all of your options under the system hierarchy, and we have system identity. That's going to be your root password, your host name, domain name, DNS, things like that. We have management access, we have user management, we have date and time, and we also have clustering configuration information here. And down here we also have services such as DHCP, and we have service options here, pools, static bindings. We have DHCP client options here, and we also have boot DHCP relay, and of course SNMP. And something interesting here that we'll take a moment to look at is the CLI tool. Now you can come here and you can view the configuration at a glance, and this is going to be the hierarchy configuration that you're viewing. This is going to show you everything that is configured on the device in a hierarchy view. We also have the CLI editor here, where you can actually go in and make configuration changes in the hierarchy view. Like if you wanted to come in under interfaces and you realize that this is supposed to be .1.30 instead of .1.35, you could change it here and then hit commit. Well, there's also something called the point and click CLI. Now, I don't really use this much. I've used it once or twice, but some people, I understand, really like this feature. You can actually go in there into each hierarchy of the configuration. We have applications, access, chassis, class of service, firewalls, protocol. You can go into each one and just click configure here, and now you can go in and we can make changes. On the firewall section of the hierarchy, we can choose our INET family. Then we can come in here and we have options for adding new entries right here. We can give our new entry a name. It's basically just point and click through commands. It's really all that is. So let's take a look at the Monitor tab. This is really where I tend to spend most of my time in the GUI when I use it. This will give you real-time data as far as what's going on with your device and traffic. Here on the interface statistics, you have rates on input and output, you have charts on errors, and these different columns here are different error types, as you can see. And these will count up as those increment. We also have packet counters here that show up, and you'll see that it just reloaded there, updated the data. Let's take a look at event and alarms. This is going to give you information on events and alarms if you have the alarms configured, which you can also do here. We have our system view, and this is going to give you some information on what's going on with your system. We have chassis information, which is going to give you information about the device or the chassis, and we have process details here. This is going to give you CPU load and memory utilization, which is going to list all the processes that are currently running on the device and what their status is. We can look at our incoming NAT table. We can look at our source NAT. We have security here. And we can look at policy hit counters on a graph. And we can look at specifics on different zones here. We have screen counters, flow session statistics, flow gate information. We also have firewall authentication information, We also have our ALGs here, and this is going to be handy if you do have VoIP services running through your device. So you have all of your different counters here, and you have information on rates, transactions. You've got H.323 information here. Suffice it to say that there's quite a bit of options here for actually looking at what's going on the device as far as traffic passing through the device and policies being hit. This one in particular is really good, the IPsec VPN. This is going to give you some really good information on what's going on with your IPsec tunnels. But of course I don't have any IPsec tunnels set up here, but when you do this it's going to populate with a lot of information telling you what's happening as far as tunnel negotiations and the phase 1 and phase 2 information. It's going to give you all the information here. So you can see what's happening with your IPsec tunnel in real time, even as a tunnel is being negotiated. You've got switching information, and that's going to give you counters and statistics on what's going on with Ethernet switching, spanning tree, your snooping, GVRP. We have routing here. We can look at okay, so we don't have any routing instances set up here, but this is going to give you specific information on what's going on with routing. Of course, we have class of service here as well. If you notice, a lot of these tabs under monitor are pretty much the same ones that are under configure, but really these are giving you statistics on what's going on in each of those different hierarchy levels in the configuration on the device. We can look at MPLS information here, PPPoE information. We've got WAN acceleration, and of course there's nothing there. We don't have anything configured on that. We've got services information here. This is just saying that DHCP isn't running on this device because we haven't configured that either. I just have static addresses on this device. But this is going to give you pretty detailed information on DHCP.